Man, it's gonna be a big one. We should be coming in live to YouTube right about now. Welcome everybody to the NBA DFS Strategy Show presented by SuperDraft. I am Josh Engleman. I sound ridiculous in my own ear right now. It's been a while since I've had this setup, which sucks. Below me, Dave Loughran, Laffy. And I guess we probably want to start with the fact that the Philadelphia 76ers lost a home game to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
It's just how it goes, man.
Yeah.
There's no turning back at this point. I mean, it's over.
Yeah.
What are your percentage chances of winning this?
I believe it might be 0.
Let me say.
I'm opening it up right. I still have the file. I just need to open it up.
Because I believe they're 9-21 on the road. That's
all right. So they lost to the Cavs. But
it's from where we started.
I am 86% likely to have a mustache.
Oh, okay. That's not terrible. 86%.
Well, no, the next two road games are at the Clippers and at the Lakers.
Okay, so you're 99%.
Yeah, they play the Clippers on Sunday, which I assume is going to be without Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. So
yeah, you're toast. I mean, butter you up, you are toast, my friend. It's a wrap.
Yeah, and then it goes Kings, Warriors, Hornets, Wolves, Bulls, Wizards, and it's just like I'm probably going to feel good after that. But then again, they can't beat the Cavs, so
Kings loss, Warriors maybe a win.
Okay,
maybe.
I mean, they're obviously heavy favorites.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Like that's the thing, Josh. It doesn't matter.
It certainly doesn't.
Like it really doesn't matter. And people could argue, oh, Embiid got hurt. It doesn't matter. Like Drummond was out. They were running Sexton, Garland. Like, stop it. You still have a better team, and you lose. You lose by like 14 points. It's insane.
Oh God, no! It's worse than that. I had a dummy W in if they potentially beat the Bucks that Saturday.
Okay. So now it's like 93%.
97% chance.
Oh God.
Yeah. I was attempting to potentially get my shave in yesterday. The place that I wanted to go to is booked. So I have booked
Oh, wow. You're already prepared.
I have booked a shave for next Thursday. Or not next, this coming Thursday. 6 days.
So you'll have it ready for following Friday's show.
Yes. 1 week from today, I will have a stupid mustache. And
well, that's exhilarating.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you this. Because I like you, I did the chip with you. Not doing this one.
No, nor should you.
Not doing this one.
Although, to be fair, this is the easiest way to do it. So, yeah, I need to run the table, essentially.
Would you rather do the chip again or do the mustache for a week?
Oh, the mustache for the week, for sure. Dude, they're 2-10 on the road since we made the bet.
I know. It's terrible. And they've lost to the Hawks, to the Cavs. They've had some bad road losses. This isn't all just like Bucks and Heat.
Well, honestly, it is kind of rough. So Rockets, Mavs, Pacers, Raptors, Celtics, Heat, Bucks. It's a lot of losses to like really good teams.
Fair enough. But they didn't beat the bad teams either, though.
No, they needed to beat Atlanta and Cleveland.
Who'd they beat? The Knicks and the Nets?
Correct. I need them to just only play in New York.
It's a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for sure.
So essentially, I just to get this to make sure that I think your only path to winning is they run the table on the road.
That would give me. That would be 11 wins, so that would be 13. So no, they can drop one more.
Okay, they can drop one.
They need to go 10-1.
How many do they have? They have 11 left.
Yeah.
Okay.
They need to go 10-1.
Yeah, no chance.
No. The expectation based on 538 says 7-4, which
they've been given the benefit of the doubt on the road all season long.
Yeah. As they
all
should.
year long.
As they should. It's not how this works.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. Maybe make adjustments. They can't win.
I said it This was before the Embiid knock and stuff. But at full strength, if they can be full strength going into the playoffs, these idiots are going to win the NBA title on a road Game 7.
It feels like that, right? Just like the worst road team ever with that good of a record.
Yeah.
At home. There's
no
doubt in my mind.
They're going to win at the Staples Center.
Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind that's got to be the biggest disparity between road record and home record. I think they're 28-2 at home.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the more ridiculous splits in the history of the league.
I mean, they're as bad. I'm serious about this too. They're as bad as the Knicks on the road. They might be even worse.
Yeah, they're a completely different basketball team. It's brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Where do you think they rank in road record this year compared to the rest of the league? I'll tell you, but
I mean, they've got to be in the bottom 10, right?
Oh, bottom 10. They are, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bottom 7.
Jesus,
it's crazy.
It really is. It's oh my god. I just don't understand how. Look, like when we made that bet, ignoring all of the actual hoopla, you never saw it being this bad.
Not this bad, but I'm not surprised.
Right, like you were willing to make the bet, but to go 2-10,
not this bad
on the road, since that 2 road wins, dropping games to the Hawks and Cavs,
it's bad. But to be fair, I bet the Hawks to cover in that game. You know, I'm betting the bad teams to cover. So I think even against the Knicks, it was like a 2-point game. You know, so they're not even blowing teams out. They're bad teams. When they do win, it's still ugly. So here we are, man. Here we are. And I'm sure we'll find something else to bet on once baseball season starts.
I mean, I might have to stop, man.
Oh, did I break you?
I mean, it hasn't been going well.
I mean, when you think about it, it's you're 0-2. It's not like you're 0-10. If that was the case, I would totally.
If that was the case, I'd be the damn Sixers.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be bad.
Yeah. Anyway, was looking to take a look at last night's lineup study, but it's showing Anthony Davis scored 16 fantasy points and Rondo scored 7.5. So
that didn't happen.
Not entirely sure the data came in correctly. John Riley says shave head for a baseball bet. There's absolutely no chance I would shave my head.
No, I got a goofy looking shaved head.
So do I, and I don't want to shave my head at all.
No, I'm not feeling that. I mean, listen,
I would rather take that Pocky chip as a suppository than shave my head.
I'm not an animal.
No.
I mean, the mustache is a little bit different. Right. Although I haven't had a fully shaved face in I can't remember how long.
I know the feeling.
Actually, I haven't shaved in I don't know how long. So
I know the feeling. I'm not going to shave until Thursday. It's going to be like, put that lavender towel on my face and then straight razor this bad boy off.
So let me ask you this before we actually jump into it. When you go in there, what are you going to are you going to tell them like, listen, I just get rid of everything but the stash?
Yeah. I'm going to be like, I lost a mustache bet. Pamper me, but take this slop off. I look like Nikola Mirotic right now.
Just get nice drop. I haven't thought about him in a while. You gotta get the phone up, right? And make sure we get a little bit.
We'll take it before, during, and I'll save after for the show Friday morning.
Cool. Yeah. Exciting stuff. I hope everyone else is excited.
I'm just gonna leave the little dot right here, right? That's what we agreed on. Just right here.
No, that is certainly not what we agreed on.
Why, Michael? If Michael Jordan can do it in a Hanes commercial, what can't I?
I don't know if you're a history buff or not, but
I was just trying to get a mustache like Michael Jordan in that Hanes commercial when he's on the airplane.
Norm Macdonald has the greatest joke about that.
Quite confident you're probably not allowed to say that one.
No,
not at all.
Go watch Norm Macdonald though on his last appearance on Letterman.
Okay.
Where he gets into like Germany attacking the world, and
Big fan of Norm.
I don't know if you're a history buff. I don't know if you guys are history buffs or not, but there was this guy. He's one of the best comedians ever. I don't think he ever got as much praise as he should have.
No, he was incredible on Weekend Update too.
Yeah. His podcast before it went to Netflix and they diluted the shit out of it when it was on YouTube. Oh my God.
Very good. Very good. Oh man. Well, we have 10 games and it's going to take us a while, so I think that we should probably dig into it. But first, go to superdraft.io, use the promo code SUPERDRAFT. Use the promo code AWESOME.
I did that to Dan Strafford on the podcast, and he had no idea what hit him. No. All right, go ahead.
Thanks for normally listening to the shows, Dan. Go to superdraft.io, use the promo code AWESOME, get yourself $20 in super cash on your first $100 deposit. What are they running? What are they running today? I'm guessing 5K up top.
They had 10K on Wednesday.
Ooh, it's 10K up top.
Yeah, baby, they're making
jump shot,
happen.
10K on top, 3,800 entries. On Wednesday, there wasn't overlay, but there was certainly a chunk of reduced rate, so keep an eye on that. I assume Spags and I are going long today.
Yeah, even yesterday, Josh, they had 6K up top on a 4-gamer. And it started at 7. They didn't do a late lock.
Right.
So what time is the lock? Does it say 7:30?
I
can pull it up.
Look. Well, it just says the time. Oh yeah.
Yeah, 7:30. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
9.
Oh, there's only one 7 p.m. game.
Yeah.
I actually like how Super Draft cuts out a couple 7s on these huge slates.
Yeah.
8, 7 feels pretty nice.
It definitely does. And it gives them the time to try to fill up that contest post lock. So go check it out, guys. Superdraft.io. And then head to awesemo.com/join. Use the promo code NBA Strategy. One big word to get yourself 50% off your first week of Awesemo Plus. We're covering it all, guys. It's a good time. Baseball's coming soon. One more month.
One more month.
I'm excited. I'm not excited for the overlap. I am excited for not having to prep in the morning.
Yeah, the prep is just so much different for NBA than it is for baseball. It's not even close. And football, you have all week to prep. It's quite a bit different. There's no doubt about that. And you don't have the injury news. There's something exhilarating about DFS basketball, though.
I love putting in the work. We're starting to get to the point of the year where all those G League boners are popping up and you have to be like, who's this guy? Oh, he's going to play 39 minutes today because they have 6 players? Great.
Dude, there was one yesterday that on the podcast I just said, I don't know what that even means. Dusty Hannahs.
Yeah, I saw that he was waived by the Grizzlies. I was like, cool. I didn't even know he was signed by the Grizzlies.
No, he played a few minutes in back-to-back games. I had no idea who that was, what it meant, or where he came from.
Yeah, well, he's gone now. Pour one out for old Dust. He's dusty in the wind.
The Dustmeister.
God, that's a good joke. You ready?
Oh, your joke?
Yeah. Orlando Magic, Minnesota Timberwolves. 7.5-point favorites for the Magic. I just realized I have totals in here that I need to update, but we'll do that as we go. 120 implied total for the Magic. You don't see that every day, but big time pace up spot. Minnesota's defense stinks. You're going to get there pretty easy. James Ennis is at 21% ownership on DraftKings. He's the only guy in double digits from the Magic. Vooch and Aaron Gordon are both in double digits on FanDuel. I like Vooch and Aaron Gordon both on FanDuel. Vooch right now my number 2 center. So no issue with that ownership. No problem with Aaron Gordon. Don't really have much interest for 8,200 on DraftKings. I don't get the sense that I'm going to get to a lot of Orlando here, even with that total. How are you feeling about the Magic?
So here's the crazy thing. I was shocked on the podcast last night. Do you know what this opened at? 236.5. That's crazy. Minnesota's playing at the third fastest pace over the last month. And the Orlando Magic are playing at the bottom 5 pace over the last month and on the season. But also, Minnesota's just not a very good shooting team. So it's down to 233.5. I'm still tempted to go under on that, but that's besides the point. I think Well, Vooch, I really like Vooch.
Sure.
He's a solid center. He's pricey, but it's a really appealing spot against the likes of Naz Reid and James Johnson. I mean, they don't really have the reinforcements at center. Even Gorgie Jang made a big difference there when Towns was out.
They actually played Hernan Gomez for like 2 or 3 minutes at center in their most recent game.
Which falls into the same category as running James Johnson or Naz Reid there. So I like him a lot. But I want to talk about Aaron Gordon for a bit because I was a little I'm skeptical of that price point as well, no question.
Yeah.
But there's a few things that are really, really interesting. He's playing huge minutes.
Yes.
41, 41, 35, that's a blowout. 43, 37, that's his last 5. He's got 40 plus in 3 of those, 35 plus in all 5. The 3-point shooting, not really sustainable. Shooting 75% in 3 of 4 games. But he's rebounding well, a likely product of playing bigger minutes, getting more assists, has 3+ stocks in 3 straight games, and he's just shooting enough to make a splash at this price. So normally I wouldn't be there, but against Minnesota, against a team that's playing at a lightning fast pace in a game that has to be one of the highest totals, the Magic, maybe the highest, have been in all season long, I'm not that opposed to getting there. And if you were to ask me if I'd rather go with him or Pascal Siakam against Charlotte, I'd honestly rather go with Aaron Gordon here.
Trying to find his price. Yeah, I'm going to pass on Gordon. I have his target right now at 57. That's a monster game from Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, he's gone 53 plus in 3 of his last 4.
What was his price?
57 in his last one. Yeah, he was cheaper for sure. Yeah. I mean, of course, not arguing that. But if I ever was going to pay for Gordon, let it be against Minnesota and let him be 80 and let him be playing 40 minutes per game. You know what I mean?
I would say I like Vooch most overall. Gordon a little bit on FanDuel. I like Fultz a little bit on FanDuel, but point guard is just so loaded that I'm not going to get there. This is mostly just Vooch.
Okay.
And yeah, Vooch should eat here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I have some tepid interest in Gordon, though, and I think you're going to get – I'm expecting ownership to be – we got ownership.
Yeah.
Very low. Yeah, less than 5% on Aaron Gordon, which makes him more appealing to me. It's sub 9% on Vooch right now on DraftKings. Whew.
I'll say this much. I don't have Aaron Gordon in my DraftKings player pool.
It doesn't surprise me. I get it.
Yeah.
But what are you projecting him for in minutes?
36.
Okay. See, I'm giving him 38.
Scary. I think he's more likely to break before he plays it.
He's getting those minutes, though, man.
I know. It's been
like he's playing 40. He's playing huge minutes.
He really is. Yeah, they trimmed that rotation back significantly.
No, it's condensed, all right.
Yeah, only running 9 guys, so. Anything else you want to touch on from Orlando?
No, it's those 2 guys, mostly Vooch, but okay. Yeah, whenever you have a total this high and an implied total this high, you got to have some interest.
Naz Reid for the Wolves is at 19% ownership on FanDuel. No one else in double digits on either site. I don't have much interest to anything here. Depending on where value opens up, like you could talk me into a little bit of like 5%, Josh Okogie or, a couple percentage points of Hernan Gomez, but I'm largely avoiding Minnesota.
I'm not really getting anything from the Timberwolves. It's just a couple guys from Orlando. Whereas you've got a huge pace up spot for the Magic against a bad defense. You got a huge pace down spot against at least a solid enough defense to make your life more difficult. So it's just polar opposite spots here.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to, there's nothing I feel good about it. The only thing is, yes, over the last month, you've got Orlando playing significantly worse defensively. They're worse without Jonathan Isaac. Markedly, not really, but they're definitely worse. But they're still averaging 98 possessions per 48. Minnesota 106. So it's a huge pace down spot.
Like I've got Russell 8th on FanDuel for the position. I'm good. It's 46th overall on DK. Like these prices have come up for Russell, for Beasley, Naz Reid on DraftKings, not so much on FanDuel. I just don't like targeting against Orlando. I feel like I fail every time when I do.
It doesn't work very often, no.
Anything else for this game?
No, it really isn't. If I had a little bit maybe of someone like Naz Reid and hopes he stays out of foul trouble, okay. D'Angelo Russell, I don't think the price is terrible, but he's the furthest thing from a priority here. And by the way, in his last 2 games, one of which was competitive until midway through the fourth, and another that they actually won in regulation, he played 31 minutes in each.
Okay.
That's if I'm paying almost $9K for Russell, I'd like to feel confident in knowing that he's getting 35 in close games.
Yeah, I've got him in for 33 right now. I would have to give him a little bit of a bump to get him into. I'm going to have more than I thought territory.
Yep.
Atlanta Hawks, Brooklyn Nets. Nets 2-point favorites in Atlanta. We will start with the Hawks. It's going to be a fast-paced game. Brooklyn's defense actually decent. Trae Young questionable. He was questionable coming into the last one and played. I'm assuming he plays, and it's business as usual for Atlanta. No Dwayne Dedman. That is the piece of news that is relevant. He's going to be out for 2 or 3 games. He had a non-surgical procedure on his elbow. I don't know what that means. Is that a massage?
I was wondering the same exact thing. Acupuncture?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that can be.
I would not be able to guess either. No idea.
No clue. So anyway, doesn't matter. Trae Young, 10% owned on FanDuel, 1% on DK. Collins is 20% owned on both sites. DeAndre Hunter got to 14 on FanDuel. I love Trae Young on FanDuel at 9,700. Without question, my favorite play from Atlanta. That is simply too cheap. I will have more than 10% if that ownership stays there. I assume that will go up once if the Q tag goes away. Don't really need any DeAndre Hunter in my life. I do like Kevin Huerter for 4,700 on FanDuel. He is not a good DFS player, but the minutes are there. There's not a lot of value to be found right now. So he's a guy that I think that I'll get more of in the morning than I will closer to lock. That's really all that I'm looking at, though, right now. Or Trae Young on FanDuel, Kevin Huerter on both sites.
I'll go a step further. I like Trae Young on DraftKings too. If he's at 1% ownership, I would imagine it comes up a little bit. But I mean, let's be realistic here. You have Giannis on this slate. You have Doncic, but that's it. Above 10K on DraftKings, you have Towns, who is out, Trae Young, Doncic, and Giannis, all of whom are questionable, but we expect 3 of the 4 to play, or at least definitely 2 of the 4. I don't know if Doncic plays or not, but Trae Young has been fantastic. Yes, he's expensive, but he's 100% reasonably priced here. Okay. You're going to get up double-digit threes every game, 20-plus shots every game. If it's close, and it should be, he's playing 38 to 40 minutes. It's not like he doesn't have a ceiling that warrants paying a premium for him. And if no one's playing him, and it seems like way too low of ownership for me for a guy that we've seen and recently, like 3 games ago, dropped 70+ fantasy points, and he does it semi-frequently, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I'm really surprised to see Giannis's ownership compared to all of the other guys at the top. Vooch, Jokic, the 9K plus. Vooch, Jokic, Trae Young, Luka. I like all of those guys more than I like Giannis. I have no issue with Trae. I think Luka, Trae, Jokic, and Vooch all look relatively similar. So I don't have one guy that just sort of stands out on DraftKings. I'd rather just get a little bit more of them. I assume I won't have any Giannis on DK.
Okay, I wouldn't blame you for that. But if Trae Young is going to be that overlooked, 1%.
I mean, they all. Luka's at 4. Jokic is at 4. Like, none of those 3 guys are getting any ownership.
I hear you.
And I assume Trace has a little bit to do with the Q tag.
It very well could, but this is also against the Brooklyn Nets, who have seen some struggles lately. The total is tied for the second highest on the slate at 233.5. So, there's more than just him being good as reason to play him. I like him.
Thoughts on Collins or Herter or Hunter?
Yeah, Collins is tough here because you have him, and I'll go DraftKings at 86, Siakam at 85, Aaron Gordon at 82, Zion at 8K against Cleveland. Don't see myself getting there. I don't know if anyone really distinguishes themselves among those guys. John Collins and Gordon, I would prefer over Siakam. I can say that much.
Okay. I agree with you, but I'm not a big fan of Siakam just in general. So, but I don't.
No,
I also there's no chance that I would have 19% John Collins on DraftKings. I would be more likely to have
close to 9,000. It makes things really difficult.
Yeah. On DK, the only guy that I would really have would probably be Kevin Herter. And as we get more, there's no value on DraftKings to speak of. As that opens up, he would just go away.
Correct.
But I'll like him on FanDuel either way, just because of the way positions work.
Yeah, unless you're in on Cody Martin or James Ennis, you're not getting value at all anywhere.
Not right now, no. On the Nets side, massive pace-up spot. They get 5 additional possessions above their average. Spencer Dinwiddie, 27% owned on FanDuel, 16 on DraftKings. I think that is bang on correct. He looks really good. Karis LeVert, 9% owned on FanDuel at 7,200. I think that is wildly underpriced. He is my favorite play from Brooklyn, at least on FanDuel. 8,300 on DraftKings. I could largely do without. I mean, he's like a 5 to 10% guy for me at that point. I don't mind a little bit of Jared Allen, but those minutes are weird. I don't mind a little bit of Taurean Prince. He's already in the teens in ownership, and he's like wildly unappealing. So this is mostly just Dinwiddie and LeVert on FanDuel for me. On DraftKings, these are all guys that are like 5 to 10%ers.
Right. I think, however, who did you say was your guy here?
Karis LeVert on FanDuel is my favorite thing in this.
So do you not have any interest in Karis LeVert on DraftKings?
So he ranks 32nd for me. So I see him as like a 5 to 10% guy. I like him a lot more on Super Draft, where he's got a 1.55 multiplier.
I think it's an interesting spot for him on DraftKings.
I would rather have Dinwiddie for $400 less.
See, I would not even, not for me, even close. Like, I prefer Karis LeVert significantly more at a similar price point.
Interesting. Go for it. Talk to me about it.
Well, all right. So first of all, since Kyrie Irving went down, LeVert leads the team in usage. What did I say?
You said since Kyrie Irving's gone down. Dude's been down the whole damn
year. I know. Since he went down this last time, so basically almost a whole month, LeVert leads the team in usage by a wide margin. Leads the team in per minute production by a nice little bit. Dinwiddie still leads in assist rate, but you've seen a clear shift in responsibility here for the Brooklyn Nets. And Karis LeVert has taken over as the go-to scorer, while Dinwiddie has become the secondary guy. And now that LeVert is getting these consistent minutes, 35, 34 minutes per game, I just think he's a better option because you're still getting assists from him, right? Not at 30%, but around 25. You're still getting rebounds. He's been phenomenal at pickpocketing opponents, racking up a lot of steals. But like I said, minutes, the usage is there. The per minute production has been great. And he's facing an Atlanta team that's an absolute sieve on defense. So if they're priced around the same, I'm actually on LeVert over Dinwiddie.
All right. Agreed. Do you want to do a Dinwiddie LeVert bet?
Okay, sure.
I don't, man. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, I do, but it would be a lot better if we lived like 5 minutes from each other and we could pay off like lunches and stuff.
Yeah. Steak dinner or something.
Right. Like that would be.
I know.
Winner picks up the tab at Fogo de Chao or something.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Just leave it on green all night long.
Oh, God. We get the meat sweats for like 2 days. We walked past the Fogo de Chao when we were in New Orleans, and I just looked at Katie. I was like, do we want to do this? And she was like, I don't know. Like, we're in New Orleans, just get something else. I was like, but what if we can go eat all of the meat we want until we decide that we're going to throw up on the floor? She's like, yeah, I'm going to keep walking now.
So did you do it?
No, we didn't. We just ate red beans and rice and shit.
That's disappointing.
All the food we had was phenomenal.
But yeah, Levert's the guy. I don't dislike Dinwiddie, but I prefer Levert. Wilson Chandler's back. Taurean Prince isn't getting enough minutes consistently for me to have much faith in him. And I know Jared Allen fouled out last game, so that's something to consider now that his price is down at a low 5K spot. But I don't think I'm paying for DeAndre Jordan either.
No, neither am I. I'm not paying for much in this game, actually. It'll pretty much just be Dinwiddie and Levert. And look, I don't want to like oversell Dinwiddie or undersell Levert. Like those are the two guys that I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
If I like made one little adjustment, they would basically be a coin flip. The gap is not as big as it seems. I have Dinwiddie projected for an extra fantasy point.
And if you're talking like season averages, season rates, then Dinwiddie's probably gonna be projected higher there. But it is very interesting to see how Levert has been used since Irving went down this last time. He's definitely a different player than we saw earlier in the year.
No doubt about it. I like Dinwiddie and Levert both on Superdraft, 1.5 and 1.55 multipliers.
Yeah,
do you like
absolutely.
Levert more than you like Trae Young? I know the price difference is a little weird.
That's really tough. I want to say yes.
Okay. I would say that to me they're equals relative to salary. So I was just curious where your head was.
You're probably going to be able to get more minutes out of Trae Young. I just really like both of them. If I land on a bunch of lineups with Levert and Trae Young, I'm not disappointed over it at all. Especially with ownership right now. By the way, Tom DM'd us or DM'd me, said, hey, with ownership projections, they assume the player that is questionable will remain questionable at lock. So the 1% for Young assumes the status is still up in the air. As soon as the status is updated, they either move up or up significantly or move to zero. So just so everybody knows.
Okay, so Trae Young with a 10% ownership on FanDuel and a Q tag means that his ownership would be crazy if it went away. Because he's still getting to 10 with the Q tag. Whew. Appreciate that, Tom.
But it makes you wonder, like, what does he come up to on DraftKings? 15 maybe, which still isn't that high.
Sounds about right. Good stuff.
Yeah, that's helpful information.
Toronto Raptors, Charlotte Hornets. God, Charlotte is so bad. Oh my God.
Oh, they're egregiously bad. Them and the Warriors are impossible to watch.
They are 14-point underdogs on the road against the Raptors. Interesting piece of news for Toronto. It's possible that Norm Powell is back. I don't think that really matters from a fantasy perspective. But what does matter is that Serge Ibaka is questionable. And if he were to be out, Chris Boucher / Rondé Hollis-Jefferson season would be in full effect. I'm putting Ibaka in for now. They certainly don't need him in this one. So we can touch on that in a little bit. For right now, Fred VanVleet is the guy that I probably like the most. 6,500 on both sites. Has not been playing very well as of late, but the minutes are there, and Charlotte is not very good. So VanVleet on both sites is the guy I'd be most likely to get to. I have no issue with $7,300 Kyle Lowry on FanDuel, but again, point guard is pretty loaded, so he's only my 7th ranked point guard. Siakam does not look great for me at 8,500. I really like Ibaka if he plays. We'll see if that happens, but 5,900 on DK. He's probably my favorite DraftKings play coming from Toronto.
Yeah, and one of the best DraftKings plays on the slate probably if he's active, just because there's not a lot of value at all.
I have him 6th overall right now.
Yeah, value is rough, very rough. Chris Boucher is an interesting one because, last game in a competitive game, they ended up losing by 11, but it was close throughout, and it was against Milwaukee. So all of these guys got their full allotment of minutes. You see Chris Boucher really finally getting like the legitimate backup minutes at center. Before it was kind of just, he was scarcely used and it wasn't really assured that you were going to see that run from him. But, look at him now and he's gone 14, 17, and 19 over his last 3 games. Do we look at him and say, if Ibaka is out, we can rely on those minutes from Boucher? The reason I say this is, how many times have we had this where we think it's going to be the case and it just ends up where he plays like 10 minutes? I think the way Nurse is using him lately would suggest that we're going to get more reliable run from him, but I still couldn't project him for more than like 21 or 22 minutes.
No,
Not that it
I
matters.
like him at 18, so that's
I was going to say he'd
for
still
me.
be great there. Yeah.
At least the way the value exists now. So I'd have my eye on Boucher one way or the other. I like Ibaka if he is in. Van Vliet's the easiest to get to across both sites. This is a big time pace down spot for Toronto. They lose 4 possessions compared to their average. Charlotte just grinds the game to a halt. So it's hard to get too excited.
The only concern here, and it's a real concern, is that this game is not competitive from the jump.
Yeah, this is a really good day to not have to play Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet 36 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at how bad Charlotte is on both sides of the floor. If Toronto held them under 80 points, I would not be shocked even a little bit.
No, not at all. I mean, 101 implied total is dangerously close to that 2-digit barrier, and they are dead last by quite a bit.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear, I have no interest in Charlotte players. And this will be the day where Rozier goes off for 50, but I'll let somebody else take that. I don't want to pay a mid 5K price point for Miles Bridges.
21% owned on DK right now.
I know, but they still have zero interest in that. I don't know. Maybe you do. I don't see.
I do have interest in a Charlotte player. It's not Miles Bridges.
Cody Martin.
Also not Cody Martin.
Devontae
Graham's 5,700 on FanDuel.
Oh, well, that's pretty fair. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, and I've said this now like 3 or 4 times. Guard is just pretty stacked. Like, I like Devontae Graham, but he's still my 5th ranked shooting guard. But he's 9% owned. I'm going to have more than that. I'm positive of it. He's still like I thought I had him in as like a 1 fantasy point per minute guy. He's been at 0.9 over his last 30 days. So the truth probably somewhere in the middle. That's about where I have him projected for. And if he's going to get the minutes, I've got him in for 33. That's a guy that I want to take a shot at 5,700.
Any interest in OG Anunoby?
No. 0. Especially if Norm Powell's back.
We had a comment in chat. I figured I would point it out. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If Powell's out, then.
Yeah. No. 0 interest in OG Anunoby.
So do you think Devontae Graham can maybe potentially possibly turn in a decent game?
I hope so. On FanDuel, at least. Well, I mean, he ranks really highly across the board for me. He's 15th overall if I include both rankings, FanDuel and DraftKings.
I don't blame you for getting there at that price point.
Yeah. He's a guy that I would expect to fall off a little bit as we start opening up value and making it easier to get to the guys at the top.
Sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The game in general is a tough one because Toronto, they're laying 14 points, and that might not even be enough.
Charlotte stinks, man.
Mm-hmm. If this ended up being a 40-point game by the time it's over, I wouldn't blink.
If Charlotte's looking to win a game, they should schedule a home game against the Sixers.
That is actually true.
I wish it weren't.
It is legitimately true. I would not be surprised if they beat the Sixers by 12.
Oh, God, neither would I, unfortunately. Memphis Grizzlies, Sacramento Kings. Grizzlies are 4-point favorites at home against Sacramento. Grizzlies walking wounded, so we know no Jaren Jackson, no Brandon Clark.
They're unraveling, dude.
They really are. We've got Ja at 18% on FanDuel. We've got Dylan Brooks at 17% on DraftKings. Those are the only 2 guys in double digits. These guys are mostly filler for me. Like, I like Ja. The 18% on FanDuel seems about right. I like Joe Val a little bit more than his ownership, but nothing too crazy. He's my 6th ranked center on FanDuel. 4,800 for Gorgeous Dong on FanDuel is like slightly appealing, but he's still 7th for me. Happy to go to Josh Jackson if he gets no ownership like we're projecting, but not really excited there. This is a tricky team to try to handicap for today. I don't have a lot of interest in them from a DraftKings perspective. Josh Jackson would be the guy that I would get to most. I don't see a lot of volume coming out of the Grizzlies for me today.
No, me neither. And I'm not necessarily sure what to do with Joe Val at this point either.
Right.
I said this to Dan on the podcast this morning or last night. The biggest trouble I have with Memphis is I don't know what Taylor Jenkins is going to do because the last two games with Jackson out or hurt and Clark out or hurt, um, they've been huge blowouts. So you don't exactly know what the closing rotation is going to look like or the closing lineup is going to look like. You don't really know much of anything here.
Yeah.
So it makes it really hard to project confidently what type of minutes these players are going to see. And even if you did get them right, how many of them are you willing to pay for? I mean, hell, Gorgie Jang is at 5,300 now. I'm in no way getting to him.
No.
Joe Val, I just cannot at all rely on his playing time. So that is a killer. And Dylan Brooks is cheap, but is he cheap enough with the way that he's played, with the way that he's shot? Sacramento is playing. I guess it's worth pointing out they're second of a back-to-back on the road. They actually had a huge lead, 19-point lead over OKC yesterday, and blew it. End up losing by 4. So now they've got to travel to Memphis. This could be a spot where Memphis gets back on track, but they've played really poorly. They're decimated by injuries. I can't find anyone that I feel great about. Maybe John Moran at $6,600 on DraftKings, but even he is underwhelming.
I don't know. Whoever I roster from the Grizzlies is going to be the guy that gets his rotations cut. So
it's very possible that you're right about that.
If I like Josh Jackson, I'm sure it's going to be Melton. If I like Joe Val, Gorgie Jang's going to play 27 minutes. Whatever it is, I'm going to get Memphis wrong.
Yeah, I think Melton's reasonable. Yeah. But again, is he someone that will close games out? Would he close them out or no?
Probably not.
And that's the thing.
Unless
I
he's
have no
playing
idea.
well. Like they're probably going to go a little hot handy for like those top 6. You know, it's going to be Ja for sure. It's going to be Dylan Brooks for sure. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't slow-mo, but who knows?
But here's another concern.
Actually, you know what? He might. I have no idea.
Here's another concern. Is Luke Walton going to run Giles to close out the game? Or is he going to run Bjelica at the 5? Yesterday, his closing lineup had Giles and Bjelica in it. So, well, Bjelica came out for a minute or two there at the end. Or sorry, less than a minute. So if it's not Giles and it ends up being Bjelica, then you could have a lineup where Joe Val isn't in it and Melton's at the 3 or whatever. So it's hard to say.
Let's go to the Sacramento side. I'm assuming De'Aaron Fox is in. Yeah, he is questionable for right now.
He said he hopes to play.
Right. And that was all I needed to hear. I got him in for 32 minutes. He's 7,200 on FanDuel, 7,700 on DraftKings. I like him quite a bit on FanDuel, but again, point guard loaded. He grades out really well, but he's still 6th relative to the rest of the point guard slate. So not a guy that I'm going to get a ton of. 14% owned on FanDuel seems about right to me. Only other guy getting any sort of love, B Jelly is 4,800 on FanDuel at 12% ownership. Even if Fox is in, though, the guy that I probably have the most interest in, Bogdan Bogdanovic is 4,800 on FanDuel and 5,200 on DraftKings and essentially completely unowned. I would rather just get to like 10% of him and hope that today's the day that he goes crazy.
What a colossal disappointment he was yesterday, huh?
Yeah. Adam and I had a bit of a discussion about him post-lock. I mean, like, you can't be too mad. He took 14 shots, 2 of 9 from 3. Like, you want to see a little bit better than that, but
he just didn't hit any.
Yeah.
I mean, if Fox plays, I don't really have much interest in Bogdanovic. But tell me why you do.
4,800 on FanDuel just seems too cheap. Similar story on DraftKings for 5,200. That's the only place I'm seeing value right now is in the mid tier, and if he's 4% owned, like, he needs 40 fantasy points. I don't think that that's crazy for him if he's unowned, especially against a Memphis team that is kind of reeling a bit defensively. You know, not having Jaren Jackson there, I think, is problematic. I think this could be a better spot for Sacramento than like the raw data shows.
Okay. If Fox is out, I definitely have some interest. Probably not going to get to much Bogdanovich if he plays. Honestly, I would have thought that I'd have more interest in this game than I do. I'm I'm not finding myself getting the much here. The more I look at it, Melton might be the guy that I Melton and John Morant on that side of the ball. I don't love them, but as of now, assuming nothing opens up, I'll probably end up having a decent amount. And then De'Aaron Fox, in the event that he plays, is still very reasonably priced, despite some underwhelming numbers recently. Uh, he would come into the picture as well. There's no. I put it this way: I don't have any priority options from either side.
That works for me. I'm with you. Highest ranked guy I have is Josh Jackson at 21st on DraftKings, and that's just a testament of how there's very little value. So no one in this game made my top 20.
That I don't think they should.
Miami Heat, Dallas Mavericks. Heat 2-point favorites at home against the Mavs. Should be the normal squad. We know who's out. Although Tyler Hero slowly working his way back for Miami. This is a game where I really don't have anybody. Jimmy Butler is 18th on DK. He's at 18% ownership and 19 on DK. Nobody else in double digits. He's the only guy that I think that I would get to. I like Bam. He's my 10th. Oh, he's a power forward on FanDuel. He's my 10th power forward. I don't mind Jay Crowder. He's 8th for me at his position on FanDuel. I'll have some Jimmy Butler, probably in the 10 to 15% range, right where the field is. And I won't have anybody else from Miami as of right now.
Nope, me neither. Both sides of this one are kind of ugly. Now, the one advantage is that it should stay competitive.
Yes.
I think it ends up being a very good game. What's the line right now? Sorry?
If Luka plays.
If Luka plays, 2.5 points right now. Dallas Mavericks have just been really good away from home, like alarmingly good. Even with Doncic off the floor or hurt or Porzingis hurt, they've still been competitive. So I'm expecting this to stay close. Also, the Miami Heat, I would never use the word unraveling, but they've dropped 2 games in a row. Now 3 actually, but one was to Utah in Utah. I'll give them that. They lost to Atlanta by 5, and then they blew a double-digit lead with 4 minutes left in the game against Minnesota at home and dropped that game as well, of which Jimmy Butler played both of them. Now, Jimmy Butler obviously missed 2 games in between. Should I tell you what happened? Well, they lost one of those to Cleveland and beat Cleveland in the other one. They're also a much worse team away from home. But I'll tell you what, the Miami Heat are, I wouldn't say the wheels are falling off because Spoelstra's a good coach and they have a good team. But when you drop 3 of 4 and it's against Atlanta, Cleveland, and Minnesota, and your only win you lost Atlanta, Cleveland, Minnesota, and Utah. So 4 of 5, and your only win came against Cleveland. You have to wonder if things are, what the trajectory looks like there.
Not they're trying to dump some games so they can get the 6th seed in the East. Get away from that potential Bucks matchup.
Yeah, I doubt they're doing that. I doubt that.
I don't know. Nuggets pulled those shenanigans last year.
Yeah.
But I'm just kidding, by the way, about right now.
Do you have any interest on DraftKings?
No. Only Butler. Butler's the only guy in the player pool. Yeah, I only have 2 guys in this game in my DraftKings player pool.
Sub 8K Jimmy Butler is definitely palatable.
On the Dallas side, it's only Luka for me.
For me, it's usually only Luka when he's healthy. Maybe once in a while it'll be Porzingis, but oftentimes not finding myself getting the much Dorian Finney-Smith or Tim Hardaway.
No. Yeah, I only have 2 guys in my player pool on DraftKings. It's Butler and it's Luka. I won't have anything from Dallas otherwise. I don't have anything to add.
Plus, the matchup's just not good at all. It's completely unappealing spot. Regardless of whether Miami's played well or not, I still have to view them as a competent defense.
Anything else from this game?
No, there's really not much here at all.
Guys, perfect opportunity. Hit that like button. We have 630 people and only 63 likes.
Whew.
That ratio stinks. That number needs to be above 100. Let's go.
Hit
those thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Coming up later today, 2 p.m. Eastern, I believe. I'm trying to go off the top of my head here. XFL Strategy Show. Sal Vetri, Chris Spags, breaking down some XFL content for you guys. Yes, 2 o'clock. No Awesome Odds betting show today. Ben Rasa is out of commission. He is in Florida right now on the links for the DFS Open or whatever it's called. So he has tapped out to the betting show. We're taking a 1-week hiatus there. We'll still get the normal NHL strategy show at 4 with Jake. The boss man, Alex Baker, will be on the deeper dive, taking Laffy's place on the Friday like normal, 4:45 Eastern. It's a 10-game slate, so let's start a little early. Alex will be with Adam, and then Spags and I will close it out 6 to 7:30, extra half hour for Super Draft.
It's a lot of content.
It is a lot of content. That's because Super Draft is the presenting sponsor of this show, and you should go to superdraft.io, use the promo code AWESOMO, and get $20 in super cash on your first $100 deposit because they are Super Draft.
Oh, I love it.
So do I. I wish that there was a way to like print the sing-song nature of Super Draft on a shirt.
So you would do it and then just put the music symbols around.
Yeah, but like we'll get it. No one else will.
That's all that matters, right?
That's true. I don't really care about anybody else.
I was walking around with the bacon and eggs and ketchup shirt the other day, and Justine's like, "Why are you wearing that?" I told her it's a fantastic shirt. You don't have to understand it for everyone else to love it.
Yeah, I don't have one of those, or I would wear it.
Well, no, you wouldn't.
I love that hot sauce and egg shirt.
Okay. I'm sending one your way for the Mustache Day. What color?
Do I have choices?
Yeah, of course. You want red? You want blue? You want gray? You want white?
I like gray.
Gray? Okay.
Gray.
We have a merch store, by the way. A lot of great stuff in there.
Teespring, right? And there's probably some of them showing up underneath the video if you're on YouTube proper right now.
It should be. It definitely should be.
Jeffrey Coate thinks he's in Twitch right now. He went ! Eggs.
Thinking he's about to get a free shirt.
Brad Schrader. Josh, Copper Penny downtown is calling your name. You been there? I've probably been there more than I've been to any other restaurant in Wilmington. That is the go-to spot.
Are there other pennies than Copper?
I don't know. Yeah. I have no idea.
It's like calling it. Actually, that wouldn't work. I was gonna say glass. I was gonna say glass bottle.
You would like this place. It is a Philly bar and restaurant. They used to have sports murals painted in the ceiling of like old Sixers jerseys, Eagles jerseys, and stuff. But they got a bunch of like Philadelphia memorabilia on the wall. Newspaper from the Super Bowl.
There are a lot of transplants down that way.
I mean, yeah, yes and no, I guess. I mean, I don't go there to like watch the Eagles or anything. I go there to eat the wings and eat a steak and bacon sandwich.
Okay.
Steak and bacon. Steak and bacon.
Well, when I come down when we hang out, you can take me to the Copper Penny.
You would want a steak and bacon for real.
Okay.
Steak, bacon, American cheese, fried onion straws, some Chipotle mayo. Mwah.
Sounds delicious.
Guy Fieri was there. Fieri, sorry. I don't want to pronounce it wrong. Guy Fieri did the diners, drive-ins, and dives there too.
Sweet.
Yeah. And that man knows how to eat garbage food. So.
Oh, no question.
That is a stamp of approval.
Fantastic job of his.
Milwaukee Bucks, Oklahoma City Thunder. Bucks are 10.5-point favorites at home against OKC. If you're curious to know like how good the Bucks are, Oklahoma City is good. And they are.
Hold on, real quick. EMAC says, Laffy, in World War II, the United States needed copper, so they used steel pennies for a couple of years. I only know this because I happen to have a couple. Well, there's your answer.
Wait, what? Say that again. For what war?
Okay. World War II.
EMAC, do you know that because you were a part of it? Sorry, I was getting a text message. Got a buddy in at the dispensary in Boston.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Thought he was going to be standing out in a long line in the cold today, and he got there. No line.
Is that right?
Yeah. That's a great way to start a Friday.
It is.
So, yeah, If you want to know how good the Bucks are, being 10-point favorites against Oklahoma City is like a testament to how good it is. Milwaukee might be 20-point favorites in their opening round of the playoffs. Like, imagine if the Wizards snuck in as the 8 seed, and in game 1, the Milwaukee Bucks are 21.5-point favorites.
Bloodbath. Absolute bloodbath.
Be craziness. I'd be like, we're just not going to play Giannis.
You wouldn't need to. You wouldn't need to play him a single minute. Not a single minute.
No. Speaking of Giannis, 33% owned on FanDuel, 16% on DraftKings. He is my number one small forward on FanDuel. It should be no surprise. Chris Middleton is slightly above 10% on both sites. Eric Bledsoe at 21% on FanDuel. This is one thing and two things for me, and two things only. I like Giannis on FanDuel. The price doesn't matter because you have to play 2 people at each position. Giannis is very much in play. And then Giannis, even without a multiplier on SuperDraft, he's just at 1. Still looks pretty good, 61 fantasy point projection. I like him a bit on SuperDraft. I am not interested in the rest of the Bucks.
Giannis on DraftKings, you said you don't anticipate you'll have much at all, correct?
On DK, no.
Yeah. FanDuel, quite a bit different, small forward eligible. There are a few options at the position, but it thins out really quickly on FanDuel. So I'm with you there. SuperDraft, yeah, if you want to go with the 1x multiplier, that's fine. I don't know if it's necessary. Is Trae Young the same? Yeah, so Trae Young, Doncic, they're all 1x. Jokic 1x too. That doesn't sound all that great. So the Thunder also playing a second of a back-to-back. I told you they got that win, come from behind, almost 20-point deficit yesterday against Sacramento. So traveling to Milwaukee to face the Bucks on the second leg of a back-to-back. Good luck, fellas. It's going to be a tough one. I don't see this going well for them. And the problem is when Giannis is healthy, how easy is it for you to get to Middleton and Bledsoe and such when they're priced appropriately? Not saying good value, but priced probably where they should be. Like, I can't give them a ton of minutes here.
I don't have any interest.
I really don't. I don't. It's so tough to really like anybody here, and that's the issue that we've seen oftentimes with really like good teams that can move the ball, that has a lot of options. The Clippers being another one of those where it's just kind of tough to love anyone from the Clippers unless you're getting them at good value, and you can kind of factor in that they might just be one of the guys who doesn't need to do anything that day, obviously, other than Kawhi Leonard and other than Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's a team that's really difficult to get to when they're all priced in that mid to high mid-range spot.
Current pennies are 97.5% zinc.
Oh, so I was way off. How about that?
Yeah. Since 1982, they've been primarily zinc.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. Copper still has some value.
Yeah. I haven't held a penny, and I couldn't tell you how long. So.
Ooh. Big Josh. Money bags.
No, I don't even have cash. I don't ever carry cash anywhere, ever.
Man doesn't even know what a penny looks like.
I would throw it in the garbage. Why would I want that in my pocket?
So would I.
If somebody handed me like 5 pennies on the street, I would right back on the street.
If you saw one laying on the ground, would you pick it up?
No. If you saw $1 on the street, would you pick it up? Because I still wouldn't.
Yeah, I'd pick $1.
I would not. I would expect somebody's got that on some fishing line and some dog crap on it.
Any paper money, I'd grab it. Because you can't tell if it's a single sometimes. You gotta get a closer look. So if I'm already bent down and I notice it's a 1 and not a 10, I'm not gonna like get back up and not grab it.
I'm not bending over for anything less than a 50.
That is outrageous.
Bending over, man, tough. To be fair, the chances of me finding this are slim to none. If I see a 20 on the ground The ground means that it's in like my stairwell, and I'm already at home. I can't find money on the streets if I'm not on the streets.
So would you really not bend over for a 20?
No chance. I'd keep walking. What's the weather outside?
That makes you sound like such a jerk off.
I mean, the amount of things that I've said on this show, people should know that I am already. But if it's cold out, no, I'm not. I'm just keeping it moving.
Ridiculous.
It's got to be like 70 degrees. You know, maybe I'm in a place where I could like drink on the streets. Now I could just hand that to somebody at the next spot, get a new cocktail.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you could get with a quick $20, and I don't mean around the corner in the alleyway street favors. I'm talking about like, you want to get a decent bottle of liquor.
You can't even get a whole Pocky chip.
You could get by the way, I was reading something on like the Scoville units. Those retail for $6.
Yeah, they are actually cheap, but they're in short supply. So
right, so we pay. Oh God,
so we paid $40. Like I said, man, I don't care.
To be miserable.
Yeah.
Would you pick up $100 bill?
Yeah.
Don't act like that.
I just said I wouldn't bend over for anything less than a 50. I don't know why the 100 would fall out of that.
It's just such an odd statement to make. That you would look at it. So you're walking down the street, right?
Yeah.
An empty street.
Yeah.
And you stare at a $20 bill. No one's on the street. It's not a windy day.
I assume I'm getting set up.
Really?
Yeah. I'd rather somebody else have it. Somebody else is going to get more utility out of that than I am.
Yeah, but it could just disappear. It could blow away.
Okay.
It just got windy. You could go. You could pick it up and hand it to someone.
No.
To a vagrant.
No. Somebody else can find it and get that joy.
All right.
Josh is not backtracking. I've changed no part of this. I'm not bending over to pick it up.
If you found the wallet with an Amex in it, would you go and spend it?
No. I wouldn't pick up the wallet either.
Oh, see, I would, and I would try and see whose it is so I could give it back to him. And I'm serious about that.
Yeah, no.
I'm a less than great person.
I'm not looking to take on lifetime work here. I'm not trying to hunt people down.
Man. You are a fascinating character. I'll give you that.
I don't think fascinating is the word you're looking to use here, but
it is. It certainly is.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody else will do it. It's not that he cares about the 20. He is too lazy to bend over. Now that is spot on. Spot on. I'm willing to bet your wife would disagree on this policy. I don't know. Maybe not anymore. I mean, she'd probably bend over. She'd pick up the 20. She'd pick up the 20. My wife is away right now, but not on business. She's going to a horse show today.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Not really. I mean, it is for her.
Chalky McChalkenstein says, "Me, hey, I found the wallet. They must have taken the money." No, dude, I wouldn't do. I have no interest in taking somebody else's hard-earned money that I found somewhere. Sam French with a $5 super chat. That's awesome. Thanks, Sam. But I'll tell you, Josh doesn't care.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not going to pick that $5 up.
Unless it's a $50 super chat. Josh scoffs. No, in all serious, thanks, man. We do appreciate that.
Sam, you need to move that decimal point over. Seriously, no, for real. Thank you. We really do appreciate it. We really do. Oklahoma City Thunder. Guess we'll get back to this. This is not a spot where I'm looking to get much. Chris Paul is my number 9 point guard. He's at 24% ownership. I'm coming in light there. Only guy that I would probably get to is Gallo on FanDuel. If he is in, he's 5,700. Otherwise, highest ranked guy I have from the Thunder. They gained 6 possessions over their average going against Milwaukee. Only guy that I could potentially get to on DraftKings is Schroeder, and he ranks 44th for me. I don't anticipate having much, if any, of Oklahoma City on either site, except for Gallo if he is in.
Thanks again, David, now for another super chat. Josh is a bougie. All right.
I don't think that's how it's spelled.
I don't think so, but I'm not going to try to get. I think it's EE.
Way to go, Dave.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's EE, not I.
Yeah, whatever. So yeah. I'm not getting the much
I think
at
it's
all.
Both.
Is it? It might be. I'm not getting the much at all from OKC. There's a few games or a few teams on this slate that just really provide very little interest, and this is one of them for me. Steven Adams is overpriced. It's funny, you have a few good games and your price shoots up. I just have not one inkling or no interest in getting there. Danilo Gallinari on a 10 gamer, I'll pass. I know you're going to give me your 30 to 35, and I can pretty much do without that. And then SGA and Chris Paul and Dennis Schroeder on a slate of this size, there's just not much reason to get there. Schroeder is cheap. I get that, but he was a whole lot more appealing yesterday when you only had 4 games to choose from.
Matthew Samples, thank you for the super chat. We do really appreciate it. Money Cash Dollars is just spelling things wrong left and right on a full-on all-caps rant in YouTube chat. That's going really well. He was more humbled. Yeah, that's not how you write that. Josh became a narcissistic. Also incorrect. But, best of luck to you on your future spelling endeavors. How's that for it? Yeah. Yeah, look, this is a fantastic game to watch. I really like Oklahoma City as a team. This is not a game where I'm going to be having much exposure in DFS outside of Giannis on FanDuel and Gallo on FanDuel.
It's a bad game for DFS purposes.
It is. You know what's a good game for DFS purposes?
New Orleans, Cleveland.
The New Orleans Pelicans hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers. Pels, 11.5-point favorites at home. A lot of ownership coming into the New Orleans side. We're going to have to dig into this a bit. Holiday, Zion, Ingram, Ball, all in the 12 to 23% range on FanDuel. Zion doesn't make it to double digits on DK. He's at 9, but Derek Favors gets to 18 at 4,800. Zion still with the 1.55x multiplier on SuperDraft.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Fantastic.
That makes no sense at all, but I'm more than happy to take that. Okay, so Brandon Ingram was the guy on DraftKings that we had been playing frequently because of that price point. It is up a little bit, but I still think Ingram's fine against Cleveland. They're big favorites. Cleveland's a terrible basketball team. They're without Andre Drummond again. So Ingram's all right to me. The closer he gets to Zion, though, the more difficult it is to play him. When we had that $1,200 difference in price, it made it a whole lot easier to say, all right, I'll go Ingram over Zion for sure. But if I'm going with Zion or Ingram on DraftKings now that their prices are closer, I would go Zion. I just don't know if either of them are priorities here. Now, we have a few players that I really like, but I'll ask you this. On DraftKings, where you have Zion at 8 and Ingram at 7.5, what are you thinking?
I prefer Ingram.
Do you?
Yeah. I have them projected identically today.
Okay, so then you're gonna prefer Ingram there for sure.
Yeah.
I have Zion by a couple points, but that Ingram should get the more minutes. What about Lonzo Ball? This is one that I find kind of interesting. He's $7,000. His production's been modest to say the least, but I would expect big minutes in a close game. 7,000 flat against Cleveland. Any interest there?
Not so much on DK. Like I have him ranked 47th. And again, he's my 10th point guard on FanDuel. I think he's going a little over owned there at 21%. The guys that I'm most interested in are Brandon Ingram on both sites, Zion on FanDuel, Favors, I guess, on DK, but that'll go away as value comes out. And then Drew Holiday on DraftKings.
Oh, you like Holiday over all of them, or over Lonzo at the $12,000 markup?
I would rather have Drew Holiday than Lonzo on DraftKings. Yes.
Okay. Cleveland's
not by a lot.
Cleveland gets very interesting because with Drummond out, Thompson's very cheap. Larry Nance, we'll get to him. He's 5,900. Thompson's 5,700. I would expect to see a good amount of minutes here for the bigs.
Matthews Samples with the super chat, and I can't be bothered to care. $49.99. The pittance. Where's your extra penny at, Matt?
Thanks, Matt.
For real, man. That's wildly unnecessary, but greatly appreciated. Thank you very much for that super chat. That's really awesome. I really wish it were $50 so I could pick it up. Got to have a lot of New Orleans Pelicans here. Cleveland defense is pretty bad. 6% worse than average on a per possession basis. Let's see where that ranks. Over their last 15 games, that is second from the bottom. Only the Hornets are worse. All right, so rank the Pels for me.
I think probably Zion and Ingram are so close, but I'll go with you. Ingram, Zion, Lonzo, Holiday. So I have a little less interest in Holiday than you do, but in a way, many of them are interchangeable. I'm not in love with anyone from the Pels, but I think all of them are really solid options.
That's sort of how I feel too. It's not anybody that I'm going to be like overloaded on.
Right, exactly. Because all of them are beginning to get priced pretty appropriately. They're not like you're not getting these wild values on players like Ingram. I guess you could probably argue that Ingram is the best value of the four.
That's where I have him. I mean, Favors is kind of close, but that'll go away. And then we get to Cleveland. Buckle up. 5 possession increase over their averages for this game against the Pels.
Yep.
No Andre Drummond. Kevin Love is at 30% ownership on FanDuel. He is 6,200. He is my number one power forward. I am totally there for it. Tristan Thompson, 25% owned on FanDuel. $5K. He is my number one center on FanDuel. I am here for it. Larry Nance is 5,200 on FanDuel, 5,900 on DraftKings, and playing big minutes now as of late, including playing some time at the 3, which is a thing that happened. 16% owned on FanDuel, 4% on DraftKings. He is without question my favorite Cav relative to ownership.
Yep.
Don't have a ton of interest in Colin Sexton or Darius Garland or Kevin Porter.
What about Kevin Porter?
Nah, 4,700, 4,800. I think it's getting a little too much for me. He's not a part of my player pool for right now. But Love, Thompson, Nance, gotta do it. 1.5x multiplier for Kevin Love on Superdraft, also pretty appealing to me.
On where?
On Superdraft. On Superdraft. I didn't see where you were going there. My bad.
There you go. Now, I mentioned it a few minutes ago. I'm with you. Just with Nance and Thompson, you just can't get away from him here. They're mispriced, and if they're going to keep that price tag against New Orleans in a massive pace-up spot, you just have no business getting away from it.
Yeah.
Now they're huge dogs. Pelicans have a 124.5 total, easily the highest on the slate, but you got a 237 over under in this game. There's really nothing not to like for Cleveland in terms of the guys that we just talked about. Sexton, I don't want to pay that much for him. Darius Garland, I don't think you need to get there either. The price is fine, but there's not much upside with him. Kevin Porter is interesting to me because it seems like he's the one of the few players on this team that one day could be getting 35 minutes and another getting 28. But if those minutes are going to be there, he's shown that he can give you some solid numbers at a sub 5K price point. So it's Nance and Thompson, and then a distant third would be Kevin Porter for me.
Who is your favorite play on DraftKings in this game?
Nance and Thompson, both of them.
Okay. It's Thompson for me, then Ingram, then Nance.
Say it again?
It's Thompson, Ingram, Nance for me.
Okay.
Although if Larry Nance is really projected for 4% ownership on DraftKings, it might just be Nance, considering Ingram's at 20.
Yeah, that Nance ownership is kind of alarming right now. 4% seems nuts at that price. Just given the pace up, the total, everything, the fact that we can project him for more than 30 minutes. I like him a lot.
I'm going to have so much of these guys on FanDuel. Kevin Love, number 1 power forward. Tristan Thompson, number 1 center. Larry Nance, I assume number 3 power forward. Yeah. How do you feel about, would you want all 3 of them in a lineup, or would you only want to do 2 of 3?
2 of 3 of Nance, Thompson, and
Love.
No, I don't want all 3 of them in the same lineup.
I agree. I mean,
fine with 2.
I mean, their prices don't make it crazy. Like, Kevin Love is the most expensive guy on FanDuel at $6,200. So, like, from a price standpoint, it's there. But you basically need 3 guys to go for 40 apiece. That's a little scary.
I still don't love Kevin Love here, though.
No, 7,300 on DraftKings is kind of tough too.
When you're at that price and you've attempted fewer than 10 shots in 3 of your last 4, that doesn't make me confident at all. I mean, look, it's a small sample. I get it, but he just hasn't been a particularly high usage guy this season. And, when he shoots more, he has better games because he's, an accurate enough shooter. But there's too many spots where he just kind of takes a backseat role and isn't letting Sexton take over and Garland. It's a bit too much for me. I don't hate him, but I don't love the idea at all of having him in there with Nance and Thompson at all.
Okay. Anything else for this game?
No, I think we covered it pretty well.
Agreed. Phoenix Suns, Detroit Pistons. Suns this is incredible. 6.5 point favorites against the Pistons. 107 implied total for the Pistons is 3rd lowest on the slate. They're just that bad right now. We'll start on the Phoenix side. No Kelly Oubre. It's looking like he's probably going to be out for the rest of the season. A lot of ownership coming in here. Devin Booker in the 30s. He was my number 1 contender for today. Dario Saric at 30% on FanDuel. He made the contenders list. DeAndre Ayton, 10% on FanDuel, 25 on DK, where he's only 8,100. He made the contenders list. Ricky Rubio and Mikal Bridges picking up a little love on FanDuel. I have Ayton, Booker, Rubio, Bridges, and Saric all top 5 at their positions on FanDuel. I'm certainly getting to Booker and Ayton and Saric, probably Rubio a little bit on DK as well. It's really hard to not like the Suns. Detroit defense has been really, really bad. Suns are pretty solid favorites here. And with Oubre out, it's just more shots to go around to, guys like Devin Booker. Hasn't been playing that well as of late, but this feels like a real good cure for what ails him.
Yes, it does. By the way, Matthew Samples, I thought you said $4.99. I didn't know it was $49.99.
Yeah.
So he dropped the 50 on us and got you to
he dropped
bend
$49.99 on us. That's why I'm not picking up that slop.
That's awesome.
I need that extra. I need that penny that I refuse to pick up. Then I'll make it 50.
That zinc penny.
Yes.
This is a very good spot for Phoenix to turn things around. But let me just tell you that I've just from DFS and betting on these games, the late games, I've been watching a decent amount of them. There's not really much to turn around. They had that bad game against Toronto, as to be expected, but Utah, this Jazz team, man, so bad in the second half right now. Phoenix smoked them in the 4th quarter. The Clippers game, that was ugly, but then they pulled it to within 8 or so or 6 or so with a few minutes left, and Paul George defensively just annihilated them and made life really tough. But it is a Phoenix team that's actually not playing that bad of basketball when you kind of zoom in on everything, or zoom out, and look at it as a whole. So I'm with you. Devin Booker, I really like him, but I'm willing to pay for DeAndre Ayton here.
8,100 on DraftKings is a bargain. He's my third ranked player overall.
Yeah, I love DeAndre Ayton here, and so will a lot of people. But dude, you're just getting huge numbers from him. You're getting huge minutes from him. He's got 25 plus points and 17 plus rebounds in 3 of his last 5 games. He's just putting up monster numbers. Yeah. And he's also, look, he's a good enough shot blocker, averaging 1.5 per game, 0.7 steals, 12 rebounds, 19 points. He has that type of upside to blow this price tag out of the water against the Detroit team that no longer has Andre Drummond to gobble up rebounds and get blocked shots and stuff. So Ayton's clearly my favorite play from this over a Devin Booker.
Okay. Dario Saric, flat 10 on Yahoo. I think that he is the best play from the Suns on Yahoo.
Okay. By the way, the reason I say I like Ayton over Booker, it's simple, is Booker's ceiling is pretty monstrous, but I have more faith in Ayton to give you those reliable numbers day in and day out. Centers that can get you the buckets around the rim, that can pick up easy rebounds. They're not as prone to have some really ugly games as we saw from Booker, who shot 5 of 19 against the Clippers. So I like both of them. I like Saric. It's one of the best teams to target collectively on the slate.
On the Pistons side, I like Christian Wood, 7,600 on FanDuel, 7,200 on DK. 1.6x multiplier on Superdraft is very appealing. Picking up a little bit of ownership. Derrick Rose at 20% on DraftKings. I get it. I have him 11th on DK for right now. And then John Henson is at 28%, 3,500. I can't imagine that stays there unless I miss something and somebody's hurt.
No, he's getting like 20, 22 minutes.
I would rather get to Svi at no ownership, 3,300 on DraftKings.
Oh, not me. And I'm not even
than John Henson, I mean.
What?
If John Henson is 28% owned and Svi is 0% owned, I'm just going to play Svi instead.
I'd rather have neither.
Right, agreed.
Yeah, that's a lot on Henson for sure. But Svi is also like a 0.007 fantasy point per minute producer. But yes, the fact that he could. No, I don't want either of them. Let me keep it at that one. I don't need to go much further there. Any interest in Wood?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always got Wood.
Okay. That'll settle it.
Yeah. But no, for real. 7,600 on FanDuel. I've got him ranked 4th at his position. 7,200 on DraftKings. Just given the way the value looks right now, I have him 4th overall.
Double machine too.
Yeah. So yeah, I do want to get there. 25% owned is about where I think he should be.
El Negro Loco asked a good question. Would you guys rather have Devin Booker or Karis LeVert on FanDuel?
In a cash game, Booker. In a GPP, LeVert.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. I think that's. I mean, the GPP answer is up for some debate. The cash answer has to be Booker.
You think?
We've got Devin Booker projected for 37.5% ownership and Karis LeVert at 9%.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Man, if that holds, Karis LeVert in tournaments becomes really appealing.
Right.
Wow.
Favorite play in this entire game? Ayton, I'm guessing.
For me, Ayton, Booker, Saric. Yeah. It's a good spot, man. I really like a lot here.
Same.
Less on Detroit, but like Derrick Rose, I don't see any way that Dwayne Casey's going to start giving him more than 28 minutes per game. I think
he's been playing terribly too.
Right. I think he's going back to seeing less minutes, and that concerns me. I don't mind Christian Wood. You guys have just been an instant double-double for the most part. And then if you wanted to throw Rubio into the mix, I don't have an issue with that, but his price is beginning to jump up. So yeah, those guys in that order.
2 games to go. 700 people in here, only 139 likes. Let's get that number up. We're looking for 200 before the show is over. Hit that thumbs up below the video. It'll help us out tremendously. Utah Jazz, Washington Wizards. Jazz are 10.5 point favorites at home against the Wizards. Pace up spot for Utah against Washington. On a per possession basis, from a fantasy scoring perspective, the Wizards are 3% better than average in their last 15 games, which is bonkers to me.
I still think they get smoked today.
I would agree. We've got Gobert, Mitchell, and Bojan 22% or higher on FanDuel. Mike Conley is 35% projected ownership on DraftKings. And Donovan Mitchell has a 1.45x multiplier on SuperDraft. So I totally agree with the ownership on the guys on FanDuel. Gobert is my third center, Mitchell my fourth shooting guard, Bojan my third small forward, I'm assuming. And I totally understand why Mike Conley is getting monster love on DK. I have him second overall. 5,100 is just simply, well, I want to say that it's too cheap, but I don't know what Mike Conley is anymore. And I like all 4 of those guys on Yahoo. I really like the main 4 guys from the Jazz.
Listen to this. This is the last 28 games, the last 2 months. Listen to how odd of a team they've been. I'll start with their most recent games and go back to the start of January. Okay. Lost 4, all at home. Won 4, lost 5, won 4, lost 1, won 10. So there are 5 streaks of 4+ wins or losses. Very strange team. And I tell you what, we've suffered from a fantasy standpoint in some of these games when they completely unravel in the second half. I mean, some of it's just been gruesome, but I don't know how you don't have interest in Conley here. Now, there were some questions about whether or not Ingles was going to start over him last game. It ended up Conley stayed in the starting lineup, but there may be some moves made by Quinn Snyder. I would pay close attention to that because this is a 9 p.m. game, and just keep an eye out for any news because they've lost 4 straight games at home, and they've completely – the wheels have fallen off in the second half. I've watched almost every one of those games. It's been brutal. And so Conley and Mitchell and Gobert, I like all of them, but just pay attention to make some possible lineup changes because it seemed like Quinn Snyder was considering them before last game, which they lost because they blew the lead or they blew the game in the third quarter.
Conley, your favorite Jazz guy on DK?
Yeah, he has to be. But again, let's see if he starts.
Going to be Mitchell on SuperDraft, guys. 1.45x multiplier is just too big for that dude. On the Wizards side, highest owned player in the game on FanDuel or DK is Bradley Beal at 4%. I only have Shabazz Napier in my DraftKings player pool. He is 50th. I have Bradley Beal as my 14th ranked shooting guard. I am not playing anyone from the Washington Wizards.
No interest. Listen, when you're a team that your guy can score 50 points in back-to-back games and you lose both of them, I don't have much confidence in you. I think Washington comes from cross country and gets blown out here.
Yep. You and me both. I don't have anything else to add. I will not have a Washington.
I really don't know. I don't.
Barring news that like Beal is out or something, I won't have
no interest whatsoever.
And then final game of the day. LA Clippers, Denver Nuggets, fantastic basketball game. With the wife out and it being a Friday, I'm actually going to see this bad boy. It's exciting. Exciting
Really?
stuff.
You think you can stay up?
No, I'll probably fall asleep at like 10.
I don't like this game, though.
Oh, from a DFS perspective? It's terrible.
It's fun game to watch.
Yeah.
Maybe get some in-game betting on it if it swings in one direction or the other and we get some nice odds. But I do not have much interest at all from a fantasy standpoint. Like I said with who was the other good? Oh, the Bucks. Like you're a good team and the Clippers not there. Dan asked me on the early bird, am I interested in Paul George with his price being down? I don't want to take away from how well he's played defensively since returning. He's made a big impact, but he just hasn't looked right, and he has not looked good. And he's a guy we've seen return from injuries on countless occasions and just not play well for consecutive weeks until he shakes the rust off or figures it out. I don't know what it was or what it is, but No, especially against Denver in a relatively slow paced game. I just don't see myself getting to Paul George here, even at a low 7K price point.
Only Will Barton on FanDuel or DraftKings on either team made double digits in ownership.
Makes sense though.
Only Paul George made my DraftKings player pool. He is 63rd.
Right, so you might not get any of them.
Yeah, I won't get any of them. Kawhi and Paul George both make my FanDuel player pool. They are both 14th at their position. Only guy that I like at all in this game that I would expect to get is Nikola Jokic. He is unowned. He is my 4th ranked center on FanDuel at 9,800. He is 9,600 on DraftKings. I have him 19th overall. If he is 4%, I would like to have more. But ultimately, this is a fantastic basketball game to watch. This is not a DFS game. This is the opposite of a late night hammer.
That is correct. I'm with you. Who do you like here? The Clippers laying 5 points at home. Curious to get your take on this one from a betting perspective.
I want the Clippers.
You like the Clippers to cover this?
Yeah, I think that they are a much different team when Kawhi and Paul George are both on the floor.
Oh, completely different dynamic. They've looked so good. And let's not downplay how much of an impact Beverly has defensively.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing for them to have Marcus Morris. He is largely irrelevant in a Nuggets series. It's not like they need Marcus Morris for a team with a legitimate wing. This is like the opposite of Denver. So that's a little bit of a lesser concern. But yeah, for me, I like the Clips tonight.
Okay. Me too.
Who are your favorite plays on DraftKings for today?
Oh, man. DeAndre Ayton. Really like DeAndre Ayton. And Karis LeVert, if we're going to get very low ownership on him, I'm still getting there. I think that's a really good spot to be a little bit different with. Mike Conley, if he starts, as I always do, not going position by position. Rudy Gobert is still too cheap against Washington. I really do expect them to come out of the gate, and if they can't put them away early in this game, I don't know what to tell you. That'll be a full out panic mode situation. Just saying. Yeah. Vucevic and Devin Booker. I had one more that I really liked that I wanted to point out, but I can't remember it. So that's who we got. But man, a lot from Phoenix that I'm liking today.
So for FanDuel, at point guard, going to be Trae Young, Spencer Dinwiddie, Ricky Rubio. If Luka maintains very low ownership, sign me up there. Shooting guard, LeVert and Booker, pretty clearly my top two. Get to LeVert in GPPs if he stays at 9% owned. Play Booker in cash. Kevin Huerter, Donovan Mitchell, Devontae Graham as another GPP play. Small forward, it's pretty easy. Giannis, Brandon Ingram, Boyan. I'm not trying to get too cute anywhere else. Fade Miles Bridges. Power forward. You're getting the two Cleveland guys, Kevin Love, Larry Nance. You're getting Dario Saric, who's picking up a ton of minutes now with Kelly Oubre out. I think power forward kind of fills itself out, although if Naz Reid stays at 20%, feel free to get a little bit away from that. And then at center, it's Tristan Thompson, Nikola Vucevic, who I feel like we talked about 10 hours ago. Rudy Gobert looks good. And then if Nikola Jokic really is 3% owned and those other guys are in the 20s, you're going to want to have Nikola Jokic in GPPs.
I'm with you. Across the board.
189 likes, guys. 710 people. We need 11 more of you to hit that thumbs up so we can feel good about ourselves for the rest of the day. Spags and Sal will be back at 2 p.m. Eastern talking XFL week 3? 4? 3? 4? I don't remember.
Week 4.
Week 4. Tune into that at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then Deeper Dive starting at 4:45. The boss man, Alex Baker, teaming up with Adam for that one. And then Spags and I for Live Before Lock from 6 till 7:30. Thank you guys for hitting that like number. We're up to 205 and counting. We really appreciate it. It helps us out tremendously. Laffy, it's been a little bit of time since we ate a chip on stream.
Yeah, I'd like to not do that again.
Yeah, I agree. Are you going to be eating any of those chips anytime soon? Is that lunch for you today? One more Pocky chip?
If I had to do it again, I would.
Yeah.
And if you had to do it again, you need to drink some milk or something first.
Yes, there's also still nothing in my stomach as per usual right now. So no Pocky chips for me. Anything else from you today?
That'll do it, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow on Sirius XM Radio. Sirius 210 XM 87, Awesome Radio, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday. Got to get you on to talk a little hoops.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
All right. We'll do it. We'll do it.
Thank you guys for joining us. Best of luck tonight. And shout out to Super Draft.
Super Draft.